Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Adi, and today we have our first team report from Knoxville Regionals, and I'm joined by good friend and top player Nick. How are you doing?
I'm doing okay. Um, Everything considered, it could be worse. I had a, I had a great tournament.
hmm And of course, you've been on the channel a couple times, but for those who don't know you, do you want to tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
Sure. So started playing BGC in 2015. Um, Had a 2017 season. Finished first in North America. Uh, have won a couple of regionals. Top eight at a couple of internets. Have got sixth in a Players Cup, I guess, during COVID, and um, I got top 32 at Orlando regionals and OCIC in this format. So have made a couple of day twos in a row heading into this, but underwhelming performances in day two. So it was nice to finally make a run on Sunday.
Yeah, you had a crazy run in day two. Day two Swiss is really suits you, I guess. And yeah, you made it all the way to top four of Knoxville, and yeah. So I guess tell me about your team building process, the lead up to Knoxville Regionals, and how you ended up choosing the team that you ran.
Sure. So the meta out of OCIC was like some stuff to watch out for was mouse ape was like really on the rise. Dozo was like something to check. Booster bundle, flutter comps, like all sizes, like talent tusk, just a bunch of aggressive offense. Um, like Balance was really not performing, uh, and so the mindset, like I just I was reminded, basically, a quote from John Evans is that if you want to beat um, like fast offense, the best way to do it is to use faster offense. And basically, that's Lilligant outspeeds Booster Bundle, it outspeeds Great Tusk and Tailwind, and like Golden Go and Tailwind and stuff like that. And just it has an awesome speed tier. And the meta wasn't respecting Torkoal enough, like as much as it should have been. Um, like After you eruption just lines up super well into a lot of teams' game plans, and yeah, my team was basically just a call out of everybody's teams that they weren't building correctly, and it was just a massive meta call, and I hit. Uh, so yeah, like yeah, it just feels good to have like to make a team call like this. The team I built it on Wednesday and Thursday this week before the tournament, like after I got back from OCIC. Just I knew that my OCIC team wasn't going to cut it. It just wasn't good enough, and so I built something uh, like on Monday when I got back to LA. I made some Grimmsnarl screen stuff that was testing pretty okay on ladder, but I decided it was just kind of getting it got rolled by mouse ape, and also just didn't have an amazing dozo matchup, and um, wasn't really it was okay, but it just wasn't good enough. So on by Wednesday, I'd scrapped my prep, and I decided to see if I could make Sun work. And um, Sun has been a top passion project all series. Um, we've like just iterated and iterated on it a lot. This version was honestly just inspired a ton by stuff that had done well out of Australia. Scarf Great Tusk was something I'd seen Eric Rios using, uh, and it seemed pretty potent. It just outspeeds everything unboosted and gets to headlong rush. And I thought it would be kind of cool if we had Scarf Great Tusk, but it also hit 30% harder because it has the proto boost. So it seemed just like a really good Sunmon. And it solved a lot of Great Tusk's problems that we'd had on Sun, where it just was too slow and would get killed. Um, Specs Fluttermane, also inspired by OCAZ and just stuff that some other tubbers were doing as well. Uh, like modest Specs Fluttermane hits like a truck, and you can proto boost it, and it hits like a truck, except 30% harder. It just deals so much damage. Um, and so those guys are the Sun abusers, and they do an amazing job of it. Just so much damage. All that I can really say about it. The first four get completely run over by size spam. I didn't want to dedicate any slots on the core mode to checking or like to Terra Darking or whatever, because I thought that their Terras, like the three damage dealers, being able to stab Terra to deal more damage was very important. And Lilligant's Terra Ghost is also kind of core to being able to get around fake out and play aggressively with it so that you don't burn too many sun turns. So basically, just the last two slots on the team were dedicated to checking Seismim. Uh, like not entirely, but like that was a pretty heavy consideration. Dragonite uh, has Ice Spinner and is also a ground immunity, both that I can Earthquake next to and also that I can like send on opposing Great Tusk. And Big Sharp is just it's there for Sizeman basically. Terrifier has a lot of uses. The team can struggle with Arcanine, and so being able to get around Wisp is very nice. Terrifier, Terrablast in the Sun is also just like Sun boosted stab. It's very strong, and like it showed off in my top four stream set. But uh, yeah, just having the option to deal weather damage is something that always pretty much like including on my weather teams. And so it was really, uh, it was a good mon. Um, Otherwise, yeah, it's just a stat stick. I guess, should I go into details on EV spreads?
I guess first I should mention that you um, built this team at my house. You staying in Austin for a couple
I did.
days on a route between Australia and Knoxville. Of course, Austin being the natural middle point. I know you spent a couple days in Los Angeles,
Yep.
seeing some friends there too. Um, and so, first off, it was great to have you. And I'm going to take credit for the team building because I went to work on Thursday and you were using my computer and posting in our group chat under my name. And so, really, all the posts say that I built the team. Um, so,
It's
so yes,
the team.
so really, yeah, it's me who built the team. Thank you very much. And yeah, but I guess that's a like you mentioned. You this is not you said this when you were here. This is not a team that you would normally run, and you just thought that you had the meta call, and it looked like you did. Um, but yeah, just like it's really cool to see that you just had a read on the metagame. You had your finger on the pulse of the metagame, and yeah, it just turned out that this was absolutely the call for this region. Do really well with Torkoal Jump Bluff, which obviously has a very similar dynamic. So yeah, it's
Yep.
just a really cool
And
way to.
there was another Torkoal in finals as well on
Mhm.
Joker. Um, just Torkoal was not being respected enough, and it was it was just calling out the tournament for building improperly, and
Mhm.
it's uh, like it's kind of ballsy to make that call, but felt like
Yeah,
it was correct, and it got the
and
medal for it. So
yeah, clearly was. So I guess on that note, do you want to talk about the individual Pokemon and their EV spreads and whatnot?
sure. So Torkoal, very straightforward. Um, like eruption, I guess it's not the moves aren't completely straightforward, but EVs are extremely straightforward. Eruption is just the button on and on. And Terrifier eruption, you need Terrifier in order to get the Oko and Fluttermane. Um, and that's just really important to pick up. So yeah, like you're not allowed to defensively tear on it. I don't think. It just needs to be able to deal the damage. Protect is also vital, unless you have psychic terrain. But um, I will say the original version of the team had Ndidi Rouge over Dragonite King Gambit, but I just didn't feel like it was stable enough. And like as much as it's a crackhead offensive team, and uh, like is trying to just match up fish a tournament, uh, it it felt too unstable even given that mindset. Having Ndidi Rouge, um, like maybe you could run specs, but if you have the and then like have a defensive Terra, but I think you would still want Terrifier. But yeah, it's just the Lilligant Torkoal modes just work way more smoothly if you have fake out like a version. You can get around fake out. Um, uh, Lilligant, for those who played in like 17, this is just the vanilla set. Sleep Powder, Leaf Storm after you protect. You, yeah, it just is what it does. After you eruption, wins games. I had a lot of rounds in the tournament where they had little to no after you eruption counterplay, and so it was either I could just lead it and um, it won at least like a game in a set, um, or it would I could like do back Lillkoal and it would eventually be able to sweep. Um, Sleep powder is sometimes necessary. Um, you don't love spamming it. You don't want to like be clicking it multiple times a game every round. But I mean, when you have to, you have to. And notably against Wolf, I clicked like probably 7 or 8 sleep powders and hit every one of them. So like just uh, like if the position calls for it, don't be afraid of clicking the button. But yeah, that's just like odds optimization. Fluttermane talked about it, but yeah, bulky specs Fluttermane hits like a nuke. Uh, it just like I think my most clicked move was Dazzling Gleam, just being able to hit both ones, and usually it's like cleaning up one, chunking another, and then also eating the hit with the bulk. The bulk it doesn't look like it's that many points, and it's like kind of not. Uh, it's there to eat. It's slightly bulkier than my OCIC Fluttermane, which was Booster Energy Perish Fluttermane, but that one was like 20 HP, 68 defense, and that was to live 252 Adamant Dondozo Earthquake. Um, I realized that I was supposed to be eating for Wave Crash after that, and conveniently, if you have Sun, then you can eat the Wave Crash with just like a little bit more defense. Then it's 196 is the last bonus point in special attack, and 204 speed outspeeds Lycanroc, which is not a terribly common Pokemon, but I do think it's real, and the team has an off like a depending on the build, a pretty bad to awful sand matchup. So I decided that any margins I could get against Lycanroc were important, because like that's a potential sand build and um, like potentially one that the team struggles with. And like uh, it's also like a point or two faster than Mousehold, and that was something that was a like Jelly Mousehold was not something I was willing to um, like go slower than. And so I also just thought I would be the fastest special attack boosting Fluttermane, and I don't think I was outsped by any during the tournament. And that was the real goal of going that fast. You can definitely go slower, but I thought it was important to be fast, and I think I got rewarded for it. But yeah, the um, going bulkier also would have been reasonable, and also like might have been good sometimes. But I mean, even the amount of bulk I had was really noticeable and good. Great Tusk, very straightforward. Uh, Jolly is necessary to outspeed Scarf Tatsugiri. It just completely flips that matchup whether you're slower or faster than it because you're often headlong rushing a Dozo. And so, like, anything the Tats does is just going to kill you, so you need to be able to outspeed it and kill it. And it just is completely vital for that matchup. Um, Ice Spinner is a move that might have been a consideration, but I felt like Rock Slide was too good to cut. It forces Talonflame to Tailwind, and or you just get like an awesome damage trade by just Rock Sliding it, and uh, I think that's too good to give up. Scarf Rock Slide can also do funny things. Sometimes, as any VGC veteran will be able to tell you. Dragonite was a mon that popped off at OCIC. Um, this is just kind of a standard set at this point. Like Terra Blast, Ice Spinner, Speed Protect at Lumberry with Terraflying. It just hits Terra Blast, hits hard. Ice Spinner runs over Psychic Spam. It's just really, really tough to deal with having your terrain cleared just for free. And it also is coverage against just like, ice coverage is pretty good. Notably, it hits Roaring Moon and enemy uh, Dragonite. And so you can just kind of spin at each other. And the team with Great Tusk and Lillkoal can struggle to get through opposing Dragonite. So I wanted Ice Spinner. The speed creep is a little bit to see if I can cheese someone else's slower Dragonite. I think they're usually faster than me, but the other thing it does is it outspeeds Arcanine at -1, which is a little bit relevant in case I icy wind it because like perhaps because I was icy winding something else and there was an Arcanine on the field. Uh, and so in some worlds, Terra Blast like it was kind of fringe, but I just had a random amount of creep, and that's where I ended up. And I found something I could do with it. Um, Otherwise, max attack so that it does damage, and dump an HP so that it's fat. Big Sharp, EVs, pretty straightforward. Max HP because max HP Big Sharp is cheating. It's just stupid bulky. 186 adamant is the last bonus point, and I decided to bulk dump instead of speed dump, which was because I wanted it to hit a 71 speed stat to underspeed armors, like min speed armors, just to like try and solidify the trick room matchup. Um, and yeah, I think I got rewarded for it. So, um, like usually, I would have put some of those SPF points into speed, but it was especially vital for this team to have responses once trick room went up, because if trick room's not up, then I can just run over them.
Mhm.
Yeah, okay, it's pretty much the EV spreads and the movesets. Oh, yeah, Fire Blast is, we talked about it, but just, yeah, Fire Stab in the Sun goes for.
Mhm. And so I guess looking back at the tournament and now having, 16 rounds of experience with it, were there any changes you'd make moving forward?
Um, Honestly, I mean, the team was excellent. Uh, the Dragonite spread could maybe use some work. Like you could go for a different split of HP and speed, but the moves all felt correct for the tournament at least. I don't know what else I would change on it. Icy Wind was kind of useless on Flutter Main, but I think everything else was also going to be pretty useless. So that's just kind of a wash. And like special attack boosting was super correct. Great Tusk was correct. I mean, like maybe there's some bulk benchmark that I could go for, but it was like I said, I built the team in a couple of days, so I didn't have enough time to run a ton of Great Tusk defensive calcs, and it's my first time running them on in the format, so it just uh, got moved fast and wasn't especially important. I don't think. Um, yeah, just everything felt solid. Um, I don't I don't think there's anything I would change. Maybe overheat over flamethrower on Torkoal, but flamethrower was pretty good. So um,
Mhm.
like that's about the only thing I can think of. Just like if you want to fudge the numbers a little bit, you could also probably go bulkier on Flutterman and cut like some speed or something. I don't know. Um, yeah, like if you want to fudge spreads, go for it. If you want to I don't know, like there's most of the move slots are locked in. It's just a pretty like synergistic offensive team, and
Mhm.
so those are like pretty set in stone.
Yeah,
Like these are the good
no,
ones.
that makes sense. Like you said, you just go in faster than all the other offensive teams, um, and hitting harder probably, and so you just kind of get to overwhelm a lot of the teams. Um, and so,
Actually, yeah, I do want to say that the Dragonite and King Gambit slots, they were like they felt correct for this tournament, at least for the matchup spread I played. But you definitely could change those up if there are some other matchups that you want to target.
Mhm.
They're not exactly core team members. They're not like Sun synergy exactly. The Dragonite is probably the best option. Like I don't think going Talonflame or anything would really fit the pacing of the team. Um, the point of the team is that you don't waste time doing things like setting talent. You just have counterplay to their speed control and also and like you run over teams that don't have speed control. But if the meta changes, then other factors could be more important. And so, yeah, the Dragonite and Big Sharp slots could both become something else. But the Lillkoal are the sets are pretty much or the Lilligant set is locked in. The Torkoal vibes are locked in. Like Terrifier Torkoal is just correct. Um, Bulky specs Fluttermane, or not bulky, but just like modest specs Fluttermane, the base special attack is extremely correct, and Scarf Great Tusk is extremely correct. So those four you can't make meaningful changes to. Um, I think it's like a good team to net deck, and yeah, and enjoy playing against Lily Call. Everybody, it's great.
yeah,
It's very
coming
fun.
to the finals of a juniors regionals near you. Um, but yeah, okay. So on that note, let's talk about how to actually play the team. Did you have any common leads or common modes or game plans against specific teams that you had to execute?
I mixed and matched a lot. Like there were, it's pretty like I definitely loved Lily Cole the most, and it was uh, like I would say maybe like 40% of my games I led Lily Cole, just because it was so excellent at the tournament. But it's still there partly to provide like team preview pressure and just sometimes people have responses to it, at least so much that you don't slam it every game. You do slam it every game in some matchups if they have limited counterplay or if you need it to contest something. But uh, like after Lily Cole, there was just a ton of mix and matching based on matchups. And uh, like uh, it's hard to just most combinations of Pokemon are just like viable brings with each other. They're all pretty. They're all like John, who described my team as just everything is gas and more gas, and that's pretty much what I was going for with the team. So whichever gas lines up well into the opponent's game plan is probably a reasonable bring. Like King Gambit Torkoal was good in um, one of my sets. I had King Gambit Fluttermane and semis on stream. I did Raw Lilligant, I think once or twice. Um, like Torkoal Fluttermane, Torkoal Great Tusk are both good. Dragonite can work into modes with a lot of them on. It's just the team is quite flexible. It's like it's playing Pokemon. You just have to play the matchup as it's meant to be played. So yeah, okay, so like the brain dead mode is just Lillkoal, Fluttermane, Great Tusk, and that will win you a lot of games. But to play the team optimally, you do have to like deviate a lot. But I mean, you can also skate on good matchups and just Lillkoal people, and like that was kind of my tournament, like a little bit.
Hmm. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Um, I guess you mentioned sci spam as something that you couldn't really call through. What was your kind of approach to those matchups normally?
Sure. Yeah, basically, Dragonite tends to just trade damage well with a lot of the team if they don't lead. Like indeed, like being able to just flying Terra Blast, it deals too much damage in multi scale, just lets you get ahead in the damage trades. And King Gambit also just tends to be pretty good. Find ways to position those guys. Um, if you ice spinner, the Indeedee has to switch out and back in to reset psychic terrain, and that's just a lot of time that they don't want to be spending uh, when they're trying to damage race you. So just ice spinner is incredible tempo. Like you remove their tempo while developing your own. Uh, Hearthstone
Mhm.
fans might get that one, but it's basically, yeah, just clicking ice spinner it feels oppressive for side spin. And like when I was testing out the side spin version of the team, I got ice spinnered a couple times, and I was like, "Wow, this sucks. I should run this." And then I did. It was
Mhm.
like quite good into side spin. Um, Otherwise, you generally want to like while you're disrupting them, try to get your Fluttermane and Great Tusk in position. Having Torkoal can be quite good. Depending on stats, Lilligant can be okay, but it's not something I would rely on in Decisive Spam. But if it lines up, it lines up. But yeah, basically, Torkoal just speed sandwiches them. Where if they're set, like they just have to set up Trick Room for your Torkoal, and King Gambit under speeding armors is also very nice for the matchup.
Yeah,
Um, I guess I can talk about Dozo a little bit. Basically,
I wasn't going to ask you what the Dozo matchup was. I know you don't want me to do that.
oh no, it's actually like the Dozo matchup's pretty incredible. So just Lillkoal, Fluttermane, Great Tusk tends to be awesome into Dondozo. The way Dozo game plans usually play out is they have an offense mode, and then they mid game Dozo, and then they late game uh, like bring their offense mode back in. There are some other teams, perhaps ones that might be featured on the channel, that take a different approach, but such as Flamigo. Um, but um, shout out to Carson and Mike and uh, what
Tommy.
was it? It was Dandy.
Yeah.
Yeah, Tommy DeRosa. Um, they made a really sick Flamigo team, but uh, yeah, like the Lillkoal, Fluttermane, Great Tusk is still fine in them. Basically, the matchup is good because Fluttermane and Great Tusk do too much damage. Um, like this Terra Specs, Moonblast, and the Sun. Uh, if they're Glass Dozo, I think it does like 70 or something. Um, and so you can like force them to Terra, and Headlong Rush does just like 40-ish to standard Dozo uh, after they're boosted. I don't remember which calcs those are, but yeah, it's probably Sun boosted and Terra boosted or something. But basically, yeah, you just can out trade the +2 Dozo with +0 Great Tusk because of like Sun and uh, Terra, and you have too many base stats. And Unaware ignores your Headlong Rush drops, and you just power through it.
Hmm.
You just out damage it.
And your leaf storm drops
And
too.
yeah, and yeah, just Dozo gets kind of rolled.
Hmm. Um,
Um, yeah,
Yeah. Were there any other matchups that you want to talk about, or do you want to talk about the tournament?
Um, I guess just one last synergy that might not be especially apparent is after you does not only have to be used on eruption. After Ewing, like Dazzling Gleam, and just having 300 speed, like special attack boosted specs, Terra, Fairy, Fluttermane, is really, really powerful. So uh, like if Talon Tusk tries to like if he can get through the Talon, and then after you Gleam, then uh, that can get there as well. Just yeah, be like consider those lines when you're playing.
On that note, let's talk about your tournament run. So, of course, this was the first regional that we've ever had with day two Swiss. So you had to go 7-2 in day one to qualify for day two, and then you had to go either 12-2 or 11-3 to make top cut, where 11-3 had a chance of missing as well. So yeah, so tell me about how your tournament went.
Sure. So I had a good start. I started 6-0. One of those rounds, I was playing. I hit a bad matchup. It was the like Toller stuff, which is Talentusk, Tyranitar, like AVT Tar. I think it was someone else in Toller's group, Dan Fitzpatrick, I think, but same team as Toller. Um, I don't remember how I probably just positioned Fluttermane well, I think. Yeah, for one of the games. And for the other game, I dodged a rock slide with, I think, Lilligant uh, to stall or to just like be able to take an important kill. Um, so yeah, that matchup was bad. Otherwise, I just kind of rolled. The team was for like through the first 6 rounds. Um, the team was very good, and a lot of people just didn't have matchup for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's it's just powerful offense, and when people don't have matchup for you, you just kind of get to cruise. Um,
Yeah,
Not too much.
I know you
So
said in our chat there were a couple teams specifically that you didn't want to face, and then of course round seven, I believe you rolled into one, right?
yeah, yeah. The two main matchups that I was trying to dodge were Tyranitar and Ledge. I teched out a bunch for Armarouge, and Ledge was just like less common. So um, I did hit Z. That match was on stream. Um, I could have probably done a little bit more, but that's just like I had to get turns right, and the matchup is not good at all. So um,
Mm-hmm.
no shame, just got beaten by a good player with a good matchup. So like it happens. When you're trying to match up fish a tournament, you don't hit all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Round eight, I played against Joe UX9. He the Arcanine was annoying for the team. Um, that's another thing that I should mention is Arcanine was really underwhelming heading into the tournament, just from a meta perspective. I did not think it would be common, and so I just kind of disrespected it. The team has Arcanine tools. Terrifier, King Gambit is very good into it. Like Lum Dragonite can just chunk it. Fluttermane does an alarming amount of damage to it. But yeah, just he had enough tools and he positioned them all. Like he also just made a bunch of good plays. He ice spinnered my Dragonite switch in with his Great Tusk, for example. Like that was just good plays. Um, and I got caught, and that happens. So went to 6-2. Round nine, I played against some like bearish guy uh, who was like a great guy, but like didn't have much of a matchup. Just kind of got rolled. So I made 7-2. Um, I guess I should mention just briefly that uh, during between day one and day two, at around uh, like 10:30 p.m. I learned that a close friend had passed, and um, the just like the rest of the tournament was completely changed. And I'm trying to not talk about that too much because I'm just going to start sobbing. But that's basically what we did the entire night. Is we just cried a lot and hugged each other, and just committed to showing up tomorrow and doing what we could. Um, but yeah, I don't want to talk about this because yeah, I'm gonna be extremely sad. So
Mm.
round 10 started, and uh, uh, just basically it was more of the same where I just started hitting good matchups. Like round 10, I hit Hail. It's not always that simple, but in this case, it kind of was that simple that Sun beats Hail. Round 11, I hit some other free matchup. Just they didn't have much to do. Round 12, I hit Toller himself, who we talked about earlier, was just like it's not a great matchup for us. Game one, I won by dodging a rock slide uh, from Tyranitar. So that was basically the matchup against this team twice was I dodged an important rock slide. Um, and game two, Toller forgot to bring Talonflame, and so I was able to like call his lead and sweep him because he didn't have Tailwind, and he flubbed it, and he knows he flubbed it, and it happens to the best of us. Like it's hard to play perfect, uh, and like
Mhm.
it just happens. But yeah, I dodged. Um, he claims that it's not that bad for me. I think that it's awful for me, but um, yeah, uh, it's quite unfavored. You just don't get to control weather while also contesting his speed because Lilligant is speed reliant. Team just in its current form does not have a good Tyranitar matchup. That could probably be patched by changing some of the sets. Um, but I didn't think it was correct for the tournament. And I hit more Tyranitar than I expected, but I just kind of lucked through them. So got to get your margins somewhere.
Mhm.
And yeah, that's where I got them. I dodged some moves. Round 13, um, I played against, I don't remember who it was. It was just it was like AV Sandy Shocks, Iron Jugulus with no protect. Um, Basically, it was just Lillkoal food. And I got to Lillkoal both games, and um, I trolled in game two, but um, I got it back with I think save turns, despite just kind of like punting like a mon and a half or something for like not as much damage as I should have gotten. Um, Round 14, I got down paired against Palshwa. Um, and this is, again, just he doesn't have that much to deal with Lily Cole. Uh,
Mhm.
this is a good time to mention a fun interaction where if Torkoal sets up Sun, the Roaring Moon does not get to eat its booster energy, and so its acrobatics is half power for the first 5 turns of the game.
Oh, I think Paul tweeted that.
Yeah, that's just like a really nice interaction for people who wanted their Spit Dragon to be their Suncheck. Is it's actually not that good in the matchup. It resists like all the moves that you're throwing out, but you can just kind of neuter it. And this is like the type of matchup where Torkoal King Gambit's like really nice. Like you just kind of get to like sit there with your King Gambit, your bulky fire type, and deal damage, and they don't get to trade with it at all, and it just
Mhm.
yeah, it just powers through. It just munches. I also clicked just a bunch of like unprotected eruptions in this game because the damage trades don't work for him if he hits the Torkoal hard enough, and so you just have to be able to like see those lines and commit to them, or sometimes you have to just make reads. But the team, like as much as Lillkoal has a reputation as like a read-based team or uh, like a casino team, it really wasn't that casino based for this tournament. It was just it had a lot of safe games, um, as evidenced by the fact that I went 10-0 in games in day two Swiss.
Yeah,
I two five opponents that I hit,
I remember going into
and
the last round. I was looking, and you were 11-2, and some 11-3s are going to make top cut, but your resistance was like 45% or something abysmal, and I was like, oh man, like, and you got the down pair, and so you were like, you really had to win that last round, which is a kind of crazy that that 11-3 isn't going to make top cut, and I know a lot of people who went 11-3 didn't, but I'm really glad pulling Paul Chua in that last round is terrifying, and I'm glad you managed to beat him.
yeah, yeah. My resistance just was not very good. I think I ended up with 38% resistance for day two, which is it, the minimum resistance you can have is 33. They just floor resistance. But yeah, I needed to go 5-0, and I did it. So I'm proud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you had an incredible run in day two, and then you made it to top cut, where you played Wolf. And so, tell me about how that went. I think you tweeted about it too, but
Uh, yeah, basically, we had like a lunch break or something to between this, so we both got to look at the matchup a lot. Honestly, I just kind of spent the entire lunch break sobbing. And I'm not ashamed to admit that, but just it was, um, and on it, like I was just crying a lot between rounds. It was just grief is hard. Grief is very hard. Uh, and yeah, I think I came in moderately well prepared, but um, Wolf had better game plans. I think he took. I think his team is quite weak to Lillkoal, but he came in yeah, just with better game plans, and so I led Lillkoal all three games. I I was an emotional wreck during this set as well, and so I just decided that if the game wanted me to win, then I would win, and the game wanted me to win, just straight up. I think I went for like 7 or 8 sleep powders during the set, and I hit every one. The sleep turns, you don't really need to fish for 3 turn sleeps much with this team because Pokemon tend to faint before them. But the difference between 1 and 2 turn sleeps can be game deciding sometimes, and I think I largely got all of the sleep turns that I needed. But yeah, game one I got rolled because I, I don't even remember. It's like I think you just got some calls right or something, or my game plan was flawed. Game two, um, uh, I don't remember quite how we got there. I know I led Lillkoal and he led. Honestly, I just don't remember what his game plans were, and I don't have my notes. But we ended up getting to a position where um, he had um, a 1 HP Iron Bundle and a Great Tusk, and I had um, my own Great Tusk and a Torkoal on low HP and Flutterman back. And I needed to kill, and it's like 3v2. If I have, and I just need to kill the bundle with Great Tusk and I win the game because Flutterman can one shot his Tusk. I had long rush it because I don't read the team sheet because emotional distress and like John's, but so it's what happened. And he terrifying it because it was his out and I threw. Um, and so my and he then like earthquakes and freeze dries my board, and I'm down to solo Fluttermane. Um, and so my out is an icy wind miss, and I hit the 1 in 20 and dodged the icy wind and Blink picked up 2 kills. And game three, I was still a mental wreck, but got my head a little bit back in the game, and um, just like I couldn't believe my good fortune. But yeah, it's like, and I just um, continued to hit all my sleep powders, and made a couple of key calls right, such as like calling his protects, and I think I took an early kill. Um, but yeah, it just I got there in game three with damage.
Mhm.
I don't think I did the matchup justice, but I think the matchup was quite favored, and so I got there anyways.
Yeah. Yeah. It's,
Um, Top
sometimes,
four. Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
No,
I
I'm just
mean,
saying sometimes, that happens. And yeah, you moved on to top four where you played the eventual winner in Justin. And of course, that was streamed. So you can go and watch that on the Pokemon YouTube channel. But yeah, do you want to talk about that from your perspective?
um, I haven't rewatched it yet. Everyone has said that it was an amazing set. Um, I just game one, I think I largely did what I was intending to. Game two, I think my game plan sucked, and game three, um, I think I flubbed a turn. It wasn't a hard choke like I thought at the time. My decision to headlong rush the Gothitelle, but it was still a misplay. Um, Probably to like go for the sucker punch, and it just like um, basically Justin Tang got more turns right than me over the course of the set, and so he won, and it's fine.
Hmm.
It is what it is. Um, I had set my bar as before the tournament as if I got top four, I would book UIC. If I got top eight, I would consider it, and otherwise, um, I was ready to stop like seriously pursuing day two for the year. But I exactly hit my bar, so I'll see y'all in London.
Yeah,
And
excited for you. I know that
maybe,
you came into the year, especially in Series One, really confident. You were playing so well, and obviously you didn't have like just I mean had what day two OCIC top cut Orlando, just didn't quite have the results that that you were going for in day
yeah,
two. So
like
it's awesome to see
I
you.
yeah. My season roadmap that I set out was I think the day one. I don't like have any like touristy desires to see Japan or anything, so uh, like going to Yokohama is just it's a very expensive trip, and like the chance of doing well is like pretty low, and so it just I decided that I would try to push for day two, um, and uh, just spend the money that I could have saved for Yokohama, going to Australia instead, and try to hit day two because just it's like a lot better for a bunch of reasons to make day two world instead of day one. And I was going to try to hop on the snowball, and um, I brought teams that were good enough to make day two. I thought that making day two would be good enough to get top eight, and then The Australians kind of didn't do great, and the Europeans kind of didn't do great, and so the Americans got all the championship points, and so I whiffed a stipend. Um, so I like uh, thought that I was pretty much done for the season, but my season got resuscitated by showing up with a medal call to the next regional. So
Hmm.
I'm just really happy that I get to play UIC. Justify it to myself, like financially.
Yeah,
Um,
and I'm looking forward to having
I,
you back on the channel after you continue to do well over at UIC or whatever the next regional you're going to is.
yeah, I'll also be at Charlotte. Sounds yeah, like I'm just gonna grind it now because I'm like in
Yeah,
the race. The day two race in America is so stupid though. Like I'm at 360 championship points and I'm like barely in top eight right now. It's
it is pretty silly that we don't have 16 slots like
but
Europe. Um,
yeah, the original justification for it was we don't have or we have worlds in America, and so like you can have more day one slots and more Americans get into day two, but it just doesn't make sense to have this few slots for if the tournament is in the U.S. So I
right.
would like to see that change, but
Well, it
like not
especially didn't make
okay. I
sense
mean,
when the tournament was in
I'm
Europe.
open,
And
but yeah, Europe just had more slots despite the fact that it was, yeah. And so Europe did really well at the tournament because there were more players.
yeah, well, I mean, I digress. This is a topic for top
Yeah,
takes, maybe.
yeah,
Um,
sorry. But anyways,
yeah, this is. Well, we might talk about this more at some point on the top takes podcast. That I think that actually I'm not exactly sure what the schedule is going to be for this release versus top takes, but I think you might be on that as well this week. So yeah, we can talk about that some other time. But yeah, I just want to say congratulations again on a really impressive performance at Knoxville Regionals. I know this was really tough, and I'm really proud of how you did. Did you have any
thank you,
final words or shout outs that you want to give?
Angel. I love you. I'm gonna miss you. That's
Yeah.
it.
Well,
That's all.
again, the rental code is going to be on screen, and the paste will be in the description. So yeah, thank you guys all for watching, and until next time, we'll see you guys all later.